Bishop DiMarzio and Monsignor Curran. I'm going to try to call out some of the many dignitaries who are here today. I apologize in advance if I wasn't able to get all of them. Certainly Fire Commissioner Daniel Nigra, Attorney General Tish James, Brooklyn DA Eric Gonzalez, Staten Island DA Michael McMahon, Manhattan DA Cy Vance, Queens DA Brown, Congressman Peter King. Special thanks to the FDNY Lieutenant Joe LaPointe from the ceremonial unit, who did such an amazing job. And hello to Monsignor Harrington. So my dad didn't like when people cried, so you're all in trouble. You too, Monsignor Curran. Friends and family, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Please let's smile through our tears because it did happen. Charles Joe Hynes, my dad, happened. He happened as he amazed us, he charmed us, he frustrated us, he cared for us, he loved us, he yelled at us, he told us great stories, and he comforted us and loved us some more. And boy, did he make us smile. Mom, some poetry that describes your lifelong love story. We said we'd walk together, baby, come what may, that come the twilight, should we lose our way. If as we're walking, a hand should slip free, I'll wait for you, and should I fall behind, wait for me. We swore we'd travel, darling, side by side. We'd help each other stay in stride, but each lover's steps fall so differently. But I'll wait for you, and if I should fall behind, wait for me. Now everyone dreams of love lasting and true. Oh, but you and I know what this world can do. So let's make our steps clear, that the other may see. I'll wait for you, and if I should fall behind, wait for me. Over the past few years, Dad fell behind. His stride shortened and slowed, so Mom, you adjusted your own stride and waited for him. Even better, you pulled him along to continue your love story with him and our family. No one could have done it better. As a boy, Dad's mother, Regina Drew, comforted him during a sometimes tough childhood. Gaga was an amazing woman, just like you, a warrior and a protector. When God took her, she looked at you to take care of her Joseph. And did you ever? Mom, you're an incredible woman who loves and worries and cares and cries and smiles and loves some more. Dad was who he was because of you, and you are who you are because of him. Determined, resilient, and strong. Your strength and faith gave Dad an incredible life. And without you, the last few years would have been impossible for him. And you never complained. I think of his family and friends who benefited from tons of wonderful memories of him these last few years that would have been impossible without you. You made these memories possible, and we thank you and we love you for it. Dad is here today, and his children and his grandchildren. His grandchildren, Shannon and Liam and Karen and Emmett and Killian and Justin and Jack and Charlie and Brendan and Brody and Kyle and Shane and Owen and Kelly and PJ and Annie and Kate. Did I get everybody? I would like to thank my wife, Laura, and my brothers and sisters, wonderful spouses, Brenda, Patrick, Keith, and Beth. Thank you for your love and support during these challenging times. We see Dad in Kevin, a brilliant courtroom trial lawyer, And we see today his joys of writing. My dad was very proud of Kevin's accomplished writing credits. In Jeannie and Lisa, we see determination and strength and unwavering loyalty. You followed different careers in social work and in law. You were Mom and Dad's rock, particularly recently. You gave Dad a quality of life the last few years during tough times. Be proud, ladies. Packy. We joke, well, sort of, that there was some kind of cloning of you from Dad. Your likeness physically and mentally is striking. Your success in leadership, driving, innovating large organizations. You also both have the unique quality of charming us and scaring the heck out of us at the same time. In me, I like to think that I inherited a healthy conscience and empathy. I certainly did not inherit his healthy head of hair. Maybe a bit of his sense of humor. He was funny. He came down to visit us in Florida a few years ago, and we had it all planned out. We were going to take him to the Cathedral Basilica in St. Augustine, tour of the Spanish Fort, and then lunch at Caps on the Water. After Mass, I could see he was struggling a bit. It was quite hot, so I walked up to him and I said, "Dad, are you okay?" And he said, "I'd be much better if I had a Tom Collins in my hand." So we cut short the tour. We got to the restaurant, and a nice waitress comes over, and my dad said, "I'd like a Tom Collins double vodka." And she said, "I'm sorry, we don't serve hard alcohol before 1 o'clock on Sundays." So whoever the government official and politician, he said to her, "Well, whoever came up with that law should be voted out of office." We ordered some beer, and the kids ordered chocolate milk, and it took a long time for the drinks to come over. Minutes seemed like hours, and nobody was speaking because we needed him to have a drink. The waitress said, "I'm very sorry it took so long to bring the drinks over. It took a long time to make chocolate milk." So he said, "Maybe they should ban chocolate milk." Other than his love of his life, my mom, and his love for his kids and grandkids, he had other loves. As a daily communicant, he was a man of faith and loved his church. He loved to pray. He loved the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Mets. He loved the football Giants and St. John's basketball, who won the other night for him. And he loved going to Madison Square Garden with his longtime friends, Uncle Harry Blair and Uncle Joe Bellicosa, to watch St. John's. He loved his walks, and I loved to walk with him, as these were the times I always focused on his wise advice. He was the only remaining member of the Olive Pit softball team is Joe Miller. And he loved going on walks with Mr. Miller to the Sugar Bowl so he could get his hot dog and his beer. So thank you, Mr. Miller. And I'm sure they have, tomorrow is Sunday, so I'm sure they have a game up there, so they have their second baseman back. Thank you, Uncle Jerry, for being his second best friend after my mom. My dad loved to read, discuss politics, good government. Thank you, Dino Amoroso, Dennis Quirk, and Lou Fiddler, and Doug Livienne for helping him get elected DA and providing him with excellent guidance and companionship. He loved his martini. No looking at the menu until after the drinks arrived. He loved 1-minute phone conversations. It's a highlight of my day. Thank you to the loyalty team. Chief Angelo Morelli, Doug Livienne, Arthur Idala, and Dino. And when God took Doug, Vinny Levienne joined that team. Vinny, I remember you in front of my house on 17th Street in Brooklyn in 1989, packing cold soft drinks with ice for a long day of campaigning for DA. Vinny, my dad loved you and considered you a fourth son. And with his passing, nothing has changed, my brother. Thank you to all of the lawyers and judges my dad met almost weekly at Forlini's in downtown Manhattan, one of his great joys. Last couple of years, he would take Uber into New York, and he called me one morning frantic at work because his Uber account's password had been deactivated. And he needed to get to Forlini's. I was on the phone with him for 52 minutes. I know it was 52 minutes. So after dozens of emails and password resets, we finally got to the final step. And I said, what does it say now, Dad? He said, it says, are you a robot? And there was a box next to the statement. So he said, what should I do? I said, click it. Unless, he said, unless what? I said, unless you are a robot. So he said, hey Sean, stop being such a wise guy. Theodore Roosevelt must have been speaking about heroes and leaders like my dad when he delivered a famous speech in 1910. My dad was certainly the man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, who at the worst he fails, but at least he fails while daring greatly. So that is his place. So that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. My dad was always in the arena. It's where he wanted to be. He wanted to do the right thing by people. This week, our family received hundreds of texts and emails and phone calls with stories of my dad and his contributions. The outpouring of love was overwhelming. Truly, truly amazing stuff. My dad was a Marine. He was a brilliant trial lawyer. His closing statements and cross-examinations were legendary in Brooklyn. He was a professor at 3 law schools. Throughout his career, he stared down organized crime and prosecuted crooked people in the criminal justice system. He fought for our precious seniors as special state prosecutor in the nursing home investigations. He fought for justice for Michael Griffith in the Howard Beach case, bringing calm to a racially divided city. When the convictions came in, Mayor Ed Cox said there are 13 heroes in the city, the jury and Joe Hynes. As DA for nearly a quarter of a century, he developed progressive programs like Adopt a School and drug treatment alternative to prison. He was a visionary, looking towards being smarter about law enforcement and helping people who needed a lift. Perhaps his crowning achievement was Drew House. Drew House, in memory of his mother, Jean Drew, who was a domestic violence survivor, takes care of victims of this horrific crime with financial assistance and counseling and child care when needed. These services were of course, in addition to seeking long prison sentences to these criminals who did such horrible things. From today's services and ceremonies, you may have noticed that he was loved by the fire department. He was New York City's 24th fire commissioner. Joe Hynes taught us that we should do our best and do our best with integrity. That's who he was, and that's how he lived. And as amazing as his career was, he was a better dad, a better papa, a better friend, a better uncle, and a better husband. Thank you, Dad, for loving us and allowing us to be part of your journey. His legacy is intact. He left the world better than it was. His imprint on society is clear and deep. He is gone but not forgotten, and we can pray to him whenever we want now. How awesome is that? Semper Fi, Charles Joe Hynes, always faithful, always loyal. Don't cry because it is over. Smile because it happened. Love you, Dad. You done good.